Hey everyone, so today I wanted to show you my everyday in-depth foundation routine that I do for most days when I need to look and feel my best. And this is also what I do for my 15 and 16-hour shifts that I do overnight. So if you saw my previous foundation video and you wanted to see a more step-by-step process with the specific products that I use, then this video will help you out there. Or if you just want to know how to perfect your skin with a long-wearing full coverage foundation look, then this video is also for you. So just keep watching. Okay, so we're gonna start by me being really high maintenance and using 3 different foundations. 2 of them are just one foundation and 2 different shades. So this is the Marc Jacobs Remarkable foundation, and I'm using it in shade 26, Bisque Medium, and then shade 10, which is Ivory Light. And I'm gonna mix those 2 together, and then I'm going to just add a tiny bit of the Loreal Infallible Pro Matte foundation. So I'm going to mix all those together on the back of my hand. So you'll see, like on the back of my hand here, I've got my different foundations, and I'm going to mix that together. Okay, so then I'm going to take some on a damp makeup sponge. This is not a beauty blender. This is actually my favorite sponge. And then I'm just putting this on clean skin. So I did my oil cleansing that I do every morning, which I love. I'm going to do a video about that soon. And then I moisturized my skin. I'm not using any primer. I just don't have one that I like right now. So I'm just putting this directly on my skin. So this is definitely a full coverage look. And this is my everyday I care about where I'm going type look. Like this is what I do for work, for church, things like that. Okay, so I'm just stamping it over the skin. I'm not swiping it on, so I always do a stamping motion. Am I the only one that always gets a hair stuck on their foundation when they do it? We have a cat and she's obnoxious, but I feel like her hair gets everywhere. Okay, and then I always make sure to blend it a little bit down the neck. One, because I actually have breakouts on my neck, but also because even if it is your exact shade match, you should still blend it down your neck a little bit just to make sure that there's like no line when it dries. Then I'm gonna do my forehead. You'll notice I don't go all the way in under my eyes. That's because I'm using really mattifying full coverage products and I don't need that under my eyes. I'm lucky that under eye bags aren't a serious problem that I have. So my concealer works just fine under there. I don't need this full coverage product. Okay, and then I'm gonna use a little bit of whatever's left over just on my ears to make sure that those match. I'm not taking very much product at all. It's really just whatever's left on the sponge. And then if I have anything left on my hand at this point, then I'll go over anywhere I think needs a tiny bit more coverage. But I try not to do really more than 1 layer with this combination because it is full coverage and I want it to stay looking skin-like. Okay, so that looks good to me for this foundation. Next, I'm going to take a brush, and this is the Real Techniques Expert Face Brush. And this, I'm just using a around different parts of my face to make sure that it's blended in really well, like around my mouth, around my eyebrows, and around my hairline. I just like to do this to make sure it's really blended in nicely. Okay, so that looks good. At this point, I usually fix the raccoon eyes effect that I have going on underneath my eyes. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Lately, I've just been using the Maybelline Fit Me concealer, and it works really well for me, and I enjoy it, and it's cheap. So I'm, of course, gonna be high maintenance again, use 2 different shades. You don't have to do that, but that's what I like to do. I'm gonna use their lightest shade, which is Ivory, and then their second lightest shade, which is Fair. And I like to use both of these because Fair has a pink undertone, so it helps cancel out any blue undertones or bags, but it's not quite light enough for me, so I mix it with the lightest one. And I try not to use a ton of concealer under my eyes. Like I said, I don't really feel like I need it. And then I feel like it can also look really cakey and fake if you use a lot of concealer under your eyes. You know, like there's this big trend on Instagram where you use like a freaking triangle of concealer under your eyes and here and here. And I just don't feel like that's practical, especially for everyday use, which is what I'm doing. What I do has enough products and takes me long enough. Like I don't want to add anything else to it. Okay, so then I'm going to take my my dampened makeup sponge again, and I'm going to use the pointy end. Really focusing the majority of the product under my eye, and then I'll take whatever is left and just run it on top of my eyelid. This just helps provide a good base for whatever eye look I choose to do that. Now we're going to do the other side. Again, focusing most of the product under my eye. And then I'm going to do a tiny bit of whatever's left over on my eyelid. Okay, so that looks good. I'm going to let that kind of set for a few minutes. Okay, now that my foundation has had, a minute or so to set while I did my concealer, I'm going to take a look here and see if there are any spots that I think concealing would help. So as I talked about, there's a difference between color and texture. So I'm looking for any, spots of redness peeking through that I think a concealer would help with. And I'm actually using just the same Maybelline Fit Me concealer. I find that that works just fine as long as I make sure and set my whole look at the end. So I was recently in India visiting my friend Robin. I went with my mom and my aunt, and it was a ton of fun. It was exhausting, but it was a ton of fun. And it was really interesting. They are very obsessed, like one of the beauty trends is they're very obsessed with having light skin. They want their skin to be light. And I am super, super fair, so I was right on trend over there. But they go so far as to have a foundation that doesn't match at all, like almost like white face and then tan neck, because that's a look that they want so much. And I saw that everywhere, and it was super interesting to me how different beauty trends are in different parts of the world. We actually got to go to an Indian wedding while we were there, which was super fun and so different than our boring weddings we do here. Just such a different culture and so loud. That's how my aunt described it, was loud. And it's true. Like the colors are loud, the people are loud, the music is loud, the makeup is loud, the food is loud. Like it's just loud. Like loud's a good way to describe it, and not, necessarily in a bad way. Everything is just done over the top. The other way I would describe it is chaos. Like driving anywhere. There's cows, there's motorcycles, there's people. You know, there's no enforcement, I guess, of any rules as far as driving. The rule is you're responsible for what's in front of you, not what happens behind you. So you constantly have people cutting in front of you, swerving, driving on the wrong side of the street. Nobody pays attention to the lines on the road. Those are, I guess, just for decoration because they definitely do not use them. But the fashion that the women wear over there is just beautiful. All the colors that they wear. I mean, I knew my wardrobe was boring anyways. I mostly wear black, but okay. So this is the point where I'm kind of telling myself, okay, I'm done. I need to step back because you could keep going forward forever. Okay, so that is good enough. Oh, and I was going to mention, I mentioned this brush in my other foundation video as well, but this is the, crap, what is it? This is the Pro Airbrush Concealer Brush from Sephora that I love so much. I will try to link all of the products down in the description box below if I can find them for you. Okay, so now I'm just going to set my eyes. This isn't, you know, really foundation, but this is the sequence in which I typically do it. So I put my eye primer on top of my eyelid where I already have the concealer, and then I put whatever's left over underneath. Not very far, trying to keep it really on close to that lash line and that lid down there where, you know, you tend to crease. So I put that on there, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the other eye. And it's just a little bit, I'm not doing it for color, I'm doing it for setting. And then just a little bit under the eye as well. Okay, and then before I set my eye area with powder, I just look to make sure that, you know, I'm not setting any creases. So I look down, it all looks pretty smooth. And what I used was the Urban Decay eyeshadow primer potion, the gold one. I actually prefer the like pinkish one, I think it's called Sin, but I ran out of that one and I had a full tube of this one, so I needed to use that up. Okay, and then I'm just gonna use a fluffy, like big eyeshadow blending brush. I think this is just one that I got from Target. And I am going to take a little bit of the Coty Air Spun in the Naturally Neutral shade, which is just a really light, really light shade. So I put a little bit in the lid here, and then I'm going to swirl this. You want quite a bit on your brush. And then I'm going to set my under eye. And then I'll put a little bit on my eyelid as well to help set that. When I do this, I have absolutely no creasing in my eyeshadow. And it doesn't have to be this powder. I often just use whatever face powder I have. I'll use that as well. It's not a big deal. It's not critical for what kind of powder you use. And I'm just going to do the same thing on the other eye. This powder a lot. The only thing that kind of annoys me is that it smells like baby powder. So if you have kids, it's going to remind you of baby powder, and that's not really a smell that I like. Okay, so at this point is when I go ahead and I do my eyes and my eyebrows just to let my face set, to let everything kind of meld into the skin. So I do my eyes and then I come back and I set my face. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I went ahead and finished my eyes and my lips off of camera. So I used the Urban Decay Naked 3 palette for my eyes. And it was one of those times where I don't know what came over me. I just planned on doing, you know, a simple eye look just to go about my day and run errands and stuff. And then, I don't know, something came over me and I ended up with all of this. So eyes are done, and then lips, all I did was put on a little bit of lip liner and then Aquaphor, which is a staple for me. And then eyebrows, I just used the Anastasia Brow Wiz in the medium brown shade. So to finish up this look, I'm just going to use the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless Face Powder. I'm not I'm not 100% sold on this powder. I like it, but I haven't really found, you know, like a holy grail powder. So this one I like, and then I also like the NYX, I think it's the Stay Matte But Not Flat powder. So I'll use either one of those. And I'm just going to take a big fluffy brush. This is from Real Techniques and it's their powder brush. I'm just gonna get some powder on here. Now I'm not using this for coverage, I'm using it to set. So then I'm just going to kind of stipple it onto my skin very lightly. And the only reason that I put any on my cheeks is just to make blending like bronzer and blush easier. And to set any concealing that I may have done. Oh my gosh, I finally found the hair that has been bugging me for the past freaking 30 minutes. Okay, so then I'm going to take the blush brush from Real Techniques and I'm going to do a little bit of contouring. Try and put some of that dimension back in my face that I took away with, you know, the full coverage foundation. And I like this brush a lot for contouring because it is dome shaped, but it's still fluffy, so it's not going to put too much product in that area. And it kind of blends it out at the same time because it is that dome shaped. Dome shaped? I don't know. Okay. So it's been pretty crazy since I got back from India. I started, so I'm a labor and delivery nurse, but I started training to be a scrub tech as well at my job so that I can assist and do the instruments in C-sections. I already circulate as the nurse in those C-sections, but it's just another role that I can do. So I have been pretty busy since I got back from India. And then I live in the Seattle area and we've had basically snowmageddon since I got back. And so it's been a really interesting few weeks. It was pretty fun with all the snow. I love snow. And we have an 8-year-old boy and him and his friends just ran all over the neighborhood and had so much fun with it. And I had a lot of fun until we lost power. That was not as fun and it got really cold very quickly. Okay, so just finishing up my contouring, you know, in the hollows of my cheeks, under my jawline to help with any double chin effect. And then I do a little bit around my hairline just because I am super, super pale. Super pale. Just evening up both sides here. I didn't even say what bronzer I'm using. This is the Hoola Benefit bronzer, or Benefit Hoola bronzer. I don't know, I've been using this a long time. I just really, really like the shade and the undertones. It's not orangey at all. And I find that it works great for both contouring and just bronzing up your skin. I think I actually have another one of these because I really, really like it. Okay, and then I'm just going to use a kabuki brush. This is just one I found at Target. I don't know. And then I'm just going to lightly blend over that and make sure that there are no harsh lines and that it just kind of melts into my skin. Okay, then I'm going to use a tiny bit of blush. I don't like using a lot of blush. I have a natural flush to my cheeks, and once I get going and my skin kind of warms everything up, you can kind of see my natural flush coming through, especially if I'm at work because you're running around stressed, sweating anyway, so I definitely don't really use hardly any when I go to work. But seeing as I'm just running errands today, I will put a little bit more on for me. It's still a lot less than probably most people use, but I'm just not super comfortable with wearing a lot of blush. And this is the NARS blush in Orgasm. An oldie but a goodie. Still one of my favorite blushes. I just feel like it works well with the pink tones that I have going on in my eyes. And then again, I'm going to blend that in, just making sure it's really soft. Okay, and since it's a little bit drier today, I am going to use my Mario Badescu facial spray with rose water. This is not technically a setting spray, but I do feel like it does a good job of kind of melding all the different products together into my skin. So I'm going to do a couple spritzes of that. Okay, so that's it. I hope you enjoyed me kind of delving further into that foundation video that I did last time, and seeing those products, you know, in use, and me actually going into specific products and how I achieve a full coverage foundation look that I'm confident with, and that I'm also confident will last a very long time. This is what I wear to work, you know, for 15 or 16 hours, and I feel very confident in it, and it lasts really well, and it's definitely full coverage. So I hope that you found something useful in this, or that you'll try it out yourself. Again, I will try to link all the products that I used in the description bar below. So check those out if you are curious. Thank you so much for watching. Like this video if you enjoyed it, share it with your friends if you think that it's something they would find valuable, and subscribe if you would like to see more content from me. Thanks. Bye-bye.